I want to talk to you about something interesting, near and dear to my heart. That's video game censorship when it comes to streaming, when it comes to fair use, and when it comes to review, and when it comes to Let's Plays. Just pretty much everything. Now, here's the thing. We're not going to give like an entirely detailed breakdown of fair use in this video. This is a half rant, half informative video. Maybe people will hate it. I don't know.
Could be.
But I find it interesting. And that's just about how video game companies interact with maybe streamers you follow that you enjoy, maybe Let's Players you follow that you enjoy. Before we get into this, be sure to check out the new Let's Play channel. A little plug there. Link in the description below. Let's move on.
Seamless, well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very quick. My problem with this whole thing, and what we're talking about, is when you hit places like on PlayStation, it'll say like gameplay recording is paused because recording is blocked during the scene, or you can't take a screenshot during the scene because it's a spoiler, stuff like that. I feel like we are way past the point where companies should be doing this. It makes no sense. This is all free advertisement for your game. And there's a big argument to be made about, unless you're just sitting there uploading straight gameplay, fair use laws covering commentary over the product, because it's commentary on the product and on life in general, but still on the product.
Right, so it's not specifically tailored to that. I think the problem is, too, is that I don't know if they're concerned about spoilers when they're blocking out certain scenes, but the thing is if you click on a video that says, unless the title has a spoiler in it or something.
Which is kind of ridiculous. I mean, there was things, we can talk about Jedi Fallen Order at this point, right? It's been out a while.
For sure.
Just to give you like a little update of a character that's in that game. The day the game came out, there were thumbnails showing Cal fighting Darth Vader.
Yeah.
That just Darth Vader was there.
That's not great.
So, I mean, like, that's ridiculous. That's the day it came out. Now, months later, one thing.
Sure.
But,
right.
like, this is the moment it came out. I understand that, but I still would say that that's just kind of being a jerk. That's not against fair use.
No, and that's the thing, is you're just being a jerk at that point. But also, like, to cut out certain parts of the video that can't be recorded is dumb, in my opinion, because people are just clicking on the videos to watch it. And a lot of people that I've talked to people who are like, well, I didn't buy the game, but I watched it. I just watched the game. I didn't want to buy it and play it. So I watched through the story, or I just watched certain cutscenes. Like, I know that some people have just watched through and not played God of War. They just watched through the game, watched through the cutscenes, enjoyed it, and said, yeah, it was awesome. Had a great time watching it. So,
well, and the argument you're making, though, is why they would say they don't allow those, is because they want those sales.
Ooh, that's a fair point.
But here's the problem.
Oh, wait a minute, yeah.
But here's the problem. How do those translate to sales? Because if this person already wasn't going to buy the game to play it themselves, and they were just going to watch it, and that's all they were going to do, they wouldn't be buying the game without watching it. They just wouldn't be experiencing it at all.
Well, then you can flip it, too, where that's a small group of people. A lot of people will watch someone play to feel it out and see, oh, this game looks great, I'm going to go buy it now.
Yeah.
Oh, I had never heard of this game, or I was not aware that this game was out. I'm going to go get it now because I see my favorite streamer playing it, or my favorite YouTuber, and it looks awesome, and I'd like to go out and buy it now. So it's really a giant publicity advertisement for the most part.
Yeah.
Occasionally, you'll get the people that I mentioned who are just watching the game just to enjoy it and don't really intend on buying it. For the most part, though, people are like, oh, that looks amazing, I'm going to buy it. So,
or they're kids who don't have that money anyway, and when they get older, they already have brand recognition.
yes.
So here's just a small example of that. And a lot of these are hypotheticals. You could probably turn them around and say, oh, how do you know that? A lot of it's from people we've talked to, things we've experienced. There's games that we watched when we were younger that I went on to buy later titles in the series when I had money that I wouldn't have bought if I hadn't watched them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, for example, Call of Duty. I wasn't young enough to play COD 1, really, when it came out. I mean, I'm 25. But, like, I could have played it, but I didn't know what it was. But there hit a point where, like, MW2 was out, and I watched gameplay of it, and I couldn't afford it at the time. And a couple of years later, I actually bought MW2, and obviously that money... Actually, I bought it new, so the money would have gone to them anyway, or the retailer distributors. And then I went on and bought, like, 3 other COD games at the same time, including the newest one, because I was like, oh, I really like this series. This is awesome. I would not have done that if I hadn't watched them when I was younger, you know? So it's like a lot of the people you're losing sales to are people who are children who wouldn't buy it. They don't have money.
Yeah, 100%. That's absolutely a part of it. And it's limiting... I guess I understand bits and pieces of it. I understand that you need to maybe control parts of, like, spoilers that are going out. I get the want to control that. But also at the same time, you need to make your product available to people because it's honestly, I guess you don't need to, but it makes sense to make it available.
You
to
look
people.
bad if you don't.
You look bad
at
if
this
you don't.
point.
Yeah, because
you look petty.
That's the thing.
You're like the review embargo. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like to me, if you're not allowing people to watch your game's probably not good.
Yeah.
That's what I think of immediately. So like I know Persona 5 is good. I disagree completely with their stance on recording and streaming it though, because they said like, hey, you can record up to here. After this, don't show anybody because it's spoilers for the end of the game. To me, I didn't buy Persona 5 when it first came out because to me it was like, oh, so you're limiting people what people can see. This game's probably not that good. That's what I thought immediately. Mm-hmm. It turned out to be good, but they lost that sale for me. I didn't buy it until way later when it was like $15. You know?
It sends a message that I think irritates people. It's
yeah.
like, well, you're deliberately not letting people see this for whatever reason, and it's annoying at this point. Like you're not allowing YouTubers to show it that want to play. You're not allowing. That's the thing is you're kind of stopping content from getting pushed out there from people that you want to see it created from. You know, like if you wanted to see, for example, like if you wanted to see Degenerate play a certain game, and it wasn't able to do so because there are copyrights on it, or there's not a way to actually like, because a lot of these YouTubers are trying to make money off of this. So if you're not able to monetize certain videos, and then it doesn't incentivize a YouTuber to promote it at all, which it is promoting it.
Yeah,
so
it's free
really,
advertisement. They're not paying you.
No, and so that's the thing is you're hurting your own advertisement, but you're also, I think, holding content back from people that want to see it and would love to see their favorite YouTuber play it.
Well, so. I agree with you completely though too on you're sending a message too with that like you are not a consumer friendly company. Mm-hmm. You're sending a message you're not a consumer friendly company, you are not an advertisement friendly company, you don't support creators, which at this point, I'm sorry, big TV and big movies, like creators are replacing you in some ways. I think we'll always have movies. You know, I think we'll always have TV shows in different forms, but like the day of average mediocre television filling up your time and that's it is fading away. And it's becoming like, hey, if I want to, anything's on demand. If I want to watch T play, Alien Isolation, I can look that up immediately and see you play it. Like I can do that. Or I can go on Netflix. I can watch my favorite show right now. And when you limit those things to people, one, people have less patience for it because we expect it now. So it's just expected. Sorry, but it is. And two, like you've sent this message to the consumer that like you don't value them. And granted, most companies don't, but the illusion that you value them is what pushes your products. You know, if I'm Sears, I think Sears is dead anyway now at this point, I think. But if I'm Sears and I come out and I'm like, hey, you morons, you bunch of idiots, why don't you buy my stuff? Losers, and I insult you in everything, unless that's your kink, you're not going to be coming to Sears, you know, because I've sent the message to you that I do not care about you at all. All I'm in it for is your money. And I think that that's what these companies send. And another thing, I know this is mainly about games, and you can skirt this with capture cards anyway. Like, you know, the gameplay blocked thing you could skirt. But, like, music in games. What is the deal with this? Like, why do you pay these musicians all this money to make this music for a game, and then you don't license it so that it's able to be used to promote the game? Because you're cutting the soul out of your video game when you make a Let's Play or just completely mute it.
That's the thing is the music is such a giant part of the game. So if you're not going to have it in the game, it almost feels like it's not. It feels like you're playing like maybe 80 to 70% of the game for what it should be as far as creating the environment. And it's just stupid. It's a dumb thing to do to completely censor out the music of it. And honestly, going back to your point a little bit about the messages, like I remember like there was a certain company who released and said like, you know what, we encourage creators to play our game. We want them to stream it, so please feel free. You have access to everything. And that stands out, and that's kind of where the industry is at, is that it's an exception for someone to be able to, for a company to tell content creators, hey, you can play this game, please stream it, please enjoy it. We're not gonna stop you from doing anything. We don't care about that. That's an exception, and that's a problem because that's not allowing the industry and streaming to blossom as much as it could.
No,
it could be much more lucrative than it is, to be honest with you. But there's so many restrictions on it that it's holding it back.
Well, yeah, and I do want to mention a couple other things here too, because this doesn't just stand for music. By the way, if you are getting licenses to music that you know as a creator, like as a game creator, that it can't be played anywhere, I think that's ridiculous. Plus, we have music from like the 60s. Why does anyone still have a copyright on this? Why does copyright last that long on a non-used product? That's a broken system in and of itself, which I think really comes back to America and Europe's copyright laws both. And another thing, I want to add to this, is movies. Why can I not review a movie under absolutely airtight fair use laws, literally written in Word for review? Like, you can argue Let's Plays back and forth. I think it's pretty obvious it falls on the side of fair use, unless you're just not talking and doing nothing transformative. Your gameplay is different than other people's gameplay, the way you play the game. No matter what you do, I take a step here, you're not going to take that same step. You're going to go a different way. Sorry, that's what it is. The product in and of itself, how it's played, is transformative. That is what it is. But especially with the commentary over it, airtight. Definitely fair use. I don't care what anybody says. It is. Like, that is the law. But then when you get to review, it is 100% the law. Like, you could at least kind of argue no to fair use on Let's Plays. You cannot argue that on something like a Chris Stuckman movie review. You can't. It's
100%.
It's airtight.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing. That's what's tough about it, too, is that it's limited to where you can show, like a 10 to 15 second clip of the movie.
You can't even show
that's
that.
even risky.
Yeah, like I had to show like a clip of Smallville for a review one time, and I had to turn it around backwards, distort the image, turn it sideways slightly, and speed it up, and it still got flagged.
That's insane. And that's even without audio, right? Like, you're just showing
no audio.
No audio. That's also a problem. You're not having like the music in the background, the voice, the voices of the actors, anything like that. It's just the video itself with no audio, and that's getting flagged. And it's not like it's the whole movie either. You're showing a 10-second clip. That's a problem. That's not and you're talking over it. So no, I agree. It's a complete. It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
And I'm at the point where with like movie reviews, I would love to show little tidbits. This movie's 3 hours long or 2.5 hours long. I should be able to show less than 5 minutes of it in my 10 or 15 minute review. It makes no sense that I can't, and it's legally protected that I can. But I'm risking getting a copyright strike. I'm risking having to go to court if I dispute it too many times. It's insane. And that's why people back down from disputing these things, is because they're scared. Because if I go up against like Universal Studios on something, dude, they would annihilate me. They could just drag the case out for 3 weeks and I'd be financially ruined.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah.
And so, like, it comes down to the system is broken in so many places. I think people point the finger at YouTube way too much. Like, it's just YouTube's fault. It's not just YouTube's fault. Frankly, YouTube responded to a massive lawsuit that they had, which they lost and had to pay billions of dollars because people were uploading copyrighted stuff without fair use. But the problem is that the overreach on the copyright ID system is way too much. It is nuts, and it's a bad system. That's just how it is. I love YouTube as a platform. Nobody thinks this is a good system. No one. On top of that, the copyright system in America is broken and needs reform badly in the digital age. It makes no sense that we're running it like it's 1912. And this should be understood in the industry that this system is broken on websites and in the law, and that you're only benefiting yourself by letting transformative work promote your stuff. Even a review that comes out that says your work is absolute garbage is getting your work out there in front of people, because people are not stupid enough now to just buy your crap no matter what anymore because they can't see it because they saw one still in Nintendo Power and that's all they had to go off of. It's stupid.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't.
Sorry.
I don't have anything to add to that. Yeah.
It makes me actually mad. Yeah. Because it's so ridiculous.
I get it, yeah.
Oh, get a real job. Then you won't have to deal with these. And that's the other thing you deal with is some dumb on the internet who like thinks that they know everything about it because they've watched 5 YouTube videos. It's like, so you have people also siding with these massive corporations, which are literally just shooting themselves in the foot. And then these people are idiotically simping for the corporation. What are you doing? It's like you can't criticize anything either.
No, you can't. No. No.
Am I going too far with this?
No, it was good. I think you need to get it off your chest is what needed to happen. Yeah.
It's like a little therapy session.
I think it was. Yeah, I think you're better for it.
Do you have anything to add to this?
No, I guess not really adding a whole lot to it, but I think it's a legitimate problem that is affecting a lot of people, and it's not like this giant, global issue that's just...
No, it's not like starvation or something. No. But it's ridiculous. But you're hampering an industry, you're hurting creators, you're hurting companies,
yes.
You're hurting yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You make YouTube look like a bad platform too, because like you don't have as many problems with this on Twitch. I'm sorry, but you don't.
Right.
Twitch has its own problems though, like Dear Girl.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. But the thing too is like you now have creators leaving the platform because of Joe Rogan.
Yeah. But you have people leaving and going to other platforms now because and that's going to open a door for other creators to do the same thing. I'm going to make just as much money potentially, because look at a place like Spotify. If you're looking to podcast, I'm sure you can find a way, or Spotify will eventually get to a point where YouTube is, especially with a giant pioneer in podcasting like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So there's going to be other places to go, and that's kind of where it's looking like it's going at this point. Is YouTube has kind of dominated this scene for so long, and people have complained about YouTube so much that there is going to be an option, I feel like soon, that people are going to gravitate towards. That's going to give them more options and give them more freedom and probably make them more money and give their audience what they want. And that's kind of on fair use, and it's a little bit on YouTube, but it's
on everything.
It's on everything.
Corporations, the fair use, like laws not being enforced and like being ignored by corporations, and the copyright system, everything. People simping for companies and defending them when they do that. Mm-hmm. It's all bad.
It is.
Because at the end of the day, like, if you don't want to see a creator make something, you don't have to watch it. That's the thing. It's like, at the end of the day, like, this is not helping anybody. Your arguments for it being, like, not allowed are ridiculous, and I don't have anything to add to that at all. I could just ramble for another 10 minutes, but there's no point.
Sure, yeah.
So, hey, let us know what you think in the comments down below. Do you like the YouTube copyright system? Do you like the copyright system in general? Maybe you're a simp for a massive company. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Really excited to see that. And, hey, be sure to check out Degenerate Plays, where we definitely will insult you there if that's your kink, and, we can all go home happy. Have a great one.